I have Sabrina here, a self-made entrepreneur, blogger, who surprised me the first time we met. She started saying something in Russian. I was like, oh my God, how do you speak Russian? And it turns out that you speak how many?
7 languages now.
That's impressive.
But Russian is not one of them yet, so if it becomes, it will be 8.
We'll get into that. We'll practice some more with that. But she inspired me very much by her story, how she started her own business, her own shoe line, that you're doing it all on her own without any support. It was her idea, her inspiration. She found the manufacturers. Just tell me about that, how you started.
I mean, obviously it's a very long story, but like I'm giving you like more of a short version, like more of a summary. So I basically, I had a similar pair of shoes. That's the actual story, which I haven't really told officially. I mean, a lot of friends know like in private. But so basically around 10 years ago, it was summertime. I went with my mom shopping, you know, like how moms, you go like, you know, on like an afternoon stroll, and we go into the store, and I was like, I wasn't really up for shopping in this moment, but so we go into the store and it's summer and there's only summer shoes, and then there's this one pair of boots. And you know, Entrepreneurial, the kind of material, so the heel was made of that material, so it was kind of a summer boot. But yes, I've always liked weird stuff, and so I ended up buying this boot, right? And then the next day I go to school, and I've always loved wearing something like different. So I was wearing boots with a skirt, but I'm like 16 or something, you know?
Oh,
and then
okay.
and then at school everybody was like, oh, you're anyway like weird, right? But like, of course, like, but then people were like, oh my God, I really love it, you know? And then this is an actual true story. So the next day I went back to the store and I asked like, how many boots do you have in my size? And I bought the entire stock. So I bought 2 more pairs in 38 and then 3 more in 39. So I was like, okay, I can put like a little.
That's my size.
I can put a layer in the bigger size, and then I have it, right. I've been always a bit like OCD, so and I've been always very decisive. Like my mom taught me when I was like 4. I played tennis from a very early age, and then I wanted to have red tennis shoes, and I said I'm not gonna plan to have red tennis shoes. Like don't ask me why. And then I ended up having red painted shoes. So whenever I liked something, I was always very decisive. So I end up having these 6 pairs of shoes of these boots, right? And so I've been wearing them for 10 years, you know, around this time. And then in school people called me like Peter Pan, but people kept on asking, where do you get these shoes from, you know? And it was no name. It was impossible to find. And then yeah. So when I lived in Hong Kong, my parents visited me, and I had at this time my last pair of boots because all the other ones obviously broke over time. And then my last pair also started having holes, you know, and the shoemakers like refused to fix. Like in Hong Kong, where everything is fixable. I remember the guy at like a street shoemaker. I said, like, can you fix it? And he looks at me like, I just hand over the shoe, and he looks at it, he's like, nope, no chance. So I kept on like gluing it with second glue. You know, like the glue you
by
put.
yourself.
Yeah, because I was like, what am I gonna do? You know, like this has been like a part of my life. And then I saw my parents for Christmas at this time in Thailand. They came visiting because I was living in Asia. And then my mom said, she looked at my feet and she's like, I can't believe you walking around with like holes in your shoes. God damn it, I think one day you will produce these shoes.
Wow.
So that's the actual true, it's like a legacy, you know, the actual true story is that, even though the shoe I made now has nothing to do with the shoe like from before, because, I mean, I don't know, like the whole shape is different. Now the shoe is much more comfortable. Also, the whole thing changed because you can put accessories and it became much more versatile. But the true original story, like where I got inspired, was from having your favorite kind of shoe and what happens if it breaks, like so you can buy it again. So you know, there are like companies like Ugg boots or Timberland. It's like the icon kind of shoe. So I kind of had in mind to create an icon shoe that you can buy in several colors and then several materials, and then you can accessorize it with all these different accessories. So you constantly change your shoes and have a lot of value from one pair of shoes, basically.
And then the fact that they are 3D printed?
Yeah, so exactly. So now we come to the development. So
that's so impressive. I was just shocked. How do you do that?
So once I decided that I'm gonna do these shoes, it's of course, I mean, from the moment my mom said it to the actual moment of doing it, it took me maybe 2 years. And then I was working in normal jobs, and then I was like, oh, whatever. But I had always this strong individual like like sensation of entrepreneurship. I was always very like I don't know. I've tried not to do things like normal. Like for example, I'm German, but then I went to study in Italy without knowing Italian. You know, like I've always tried to like go different ways and kind of be
adventurous.
Yeah, exactly, and a bit like disruptive, you know. So I've always been like, I think if someone asked me how would you describe yourself in one word, I think the one word is like courageous. So like, you know, I like to like do something crazy, but then make it happen. So after a while working in companies, I was like, I don't think that's not the ultimate goal. And since I really love this idea of a shoe, I said, okay, you know what, let's just do it. So then first I went to Italy and I was kind of disappointed because I mean I spoke Italian at that time, like I learned it, you know, because I studied in Italy. But I don't know, the factories, first off I saw a lot of Chinese working in factories, you know, so I was like, okay, like made in Italy only because of the country, but then didn't really see the entire quality and I don't know, I felt a bit like you know, as it was like fake because you know it's made in Italy, but then not by Italians, you know. And so and then also they were very expensive and they wanted to have a huge order already, you know. And I was like, how do you do it as an entrepreneur? You have to start somewhere. And because I lived in Istanbul before doing an internship, I knew Istanbul.
And you also speak Turkish.
Yeah, well, at this time I didn't know Turkish yet. But because I learned lots of languages, I said, okay, you know what? Let's just try Turkey. I guess I just have to learn Turkish, you know. But why not, right?
Why not?
So I ended up going there, and and then kind of you know, things came together. I met lots of factories, and then I started working with one. I worked also in the factory for other brands and also to learn production. You know, I was doing lots of like supply chain management and logistics and product control and product development. And then I met, in this time, like in the development, I met an Italian living in Istanbul, working in the shoe industry. And then he told me, look, there's a new technology, because when I was making the first shoes, I tried them on because I'm a woman, right? And I first of all, I made the shoe for myself. So I tried them on, I was like, they're not comfortable. And then they answered me, but these are our molds. And I said, like, what do you mean this is your mold? Like, I want my mold. And so apparently it's a whole new world between, if you're like a designer or a brand, you can send your designs and then factories make it. That's like 90% of the industry. But if you are a step ahead, you make your own molds.
Wow.
Which is more expensive, obviously, and more complicated. And then there's making molds, and then there's 3D printed made molds. So
which is very new.
Exactly. So then what happened is I went to a mold company. So I explained what I want to have, and then we did 10 different prototypes, and they were taking like a scan of my feet, and then basically we started making a mold. And then
so it's a mold based on your foot?
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. I mean, the future, what we're trying to get into is obviously that we can take pictures, like you can take a video or picture of your foot, and eventually we can build then your own molds. But important is that I think that not a lot of people have done like this kind of development, you know.
It's the first time I hear that.
So then I knew what was important for me because I walked in the shoes, you know, and then you know you can walk on a treadmill and you can have sensors on you and you can see how balanced you are, and because I really wanted to focus on like very comfort and quality, because at this stage I had only one shoe I was about to produce. That was before the accessories. So basically I was like, okay, that shoe has to be perfect. So so after 10 prototypes, I finally had one where I really had no pain. I have this, you know, little Fitbit, and I was tracking the steps, and I had like, you know, 10-15K of steps. And I was like, okay, no pain, no lower back pain, you know, like all this kind of pressure points were perfectly balanced. And so then the shoe was ready, basically.
It's like orthopedic, you'd say?
No, I mean, you have to be very careful saying that, because orthopedic, again, it's individual. Eventually, hopefully one day we can get to that point, but it's very complicated. If you're a brand, you have to decide which direction you want to go. Do you want to become like an orthopedic, or do you want to be a very comfortable, stylish fashion brand?
But it's perfect for traveling, which is what you do a lot.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's for the you know, I think the girl, the women who would like the shoes is someone very independent, you know, loves to explore, loves to travel, has a backpack, but still likes fashion, you know, so she can, she's comfortable walking in the shoes for hours, can also have her backpack on her back, while she takes her next destination, uses the subway, and still
spirit.
Yeah,
I would say.
exactly. That's the whole thing, right? People like women who love festivals, but who also are busy in the office, and then can still want to pull off like a nice pair of boots. They still can do that as well. So
this brings us to the whole idea of being free, traveling the world and living your best life. As a woman nowadays, we are much more free than we ever were.
Yes.
And
we're more confident. And if you haven't been confident, there are lots of initiatives or brands that try to encourage women to be more confident and more free spirit. Yes, and that's exactly the message I want to give.
And this is also why I love your shoes, because when I saw them, although I don't have a pair yet, I hope I'll get one soon. I'll need a discount. But I saw it and I was like, wow, this is perfect for just a world traveler, an exploration. As a young girl, you're just free to do whatever.
Yeah, and also I think you transform yourself a lot, and that's the whole idea of having exchangeable accessories, because however you feel, maybe sometimes you feel more conservative, sometimes you feel more like a hippie, or sometimes you feel more like very chic, so you can actually change accessories.
Yeah.
So that was the next step, right? So imagine you can just put it, and if you don't feel like it anymore, you take it off. And then after a while, you will feel again. You feel again like it, So having this kind of flexibility, not being like stuck to a style, I was like, whoa, this is fantastic. And then I realized big brands have no interest in doing that, because big brands rather want to sell 10 pairs instead of having 10 in one. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm like I think I found a niche for myself where I can actually survive as like a young entrepreneur. You can use anything. Like I used some jeans. I used leather, I used some like glitter. It's really amazing how much you can put into one type of accessories, and how much it changed the entire shoe basically.
And tell me this, I'm always very curious. How do you get to believe in yourself in terms of just doing? Because I know you have experience as a professional athlete, you have that kind of determination. But just as a girl by yourself, how do you believe in yourself and keep going from day to day?
Honestly, it's funny that you say that, because I haven't really thought about it. Like I haven't really reflected about it, to be honest. Only recently, more and more people asked it, and then also, at home, like with my parents and brothers, like we sometimes try to understand why we became a certain way, because usually in life you just like run straight forward, right? You don't really take the time to like reflect. I mean, you do, but if you're a young kid and then you play tennis and you like it and you know it's about points and you know you can win or lose, you want to win. So you just go for it. It's just about keep on challenging yourself, keep on living, keep on thrilling yourself, keep on getting yourself motivated with new ideas, with new challenges. I think that's what it is. So I used to think that just when you have something, an inner voice that just like pressures you, like push you, like I want to make shoes, I want to make this boots. After a while, you just have to say, all right, I just try it, and you make a first prototype, which is shitty, which is way too expensive. You get ripped off, but you know what? That's
don't stop.
It's part of the game.
That's the thing. You don't stop after the first failure.
Yeah.
You keep going without questioning it.
It's part of the game, and you gotta love about it. Also, there's something. It's the most common sentence. Like it's not the goal, like it's the way there. It's really true. Because you have to enjoy it, like this entire process. You have to have a sense of humor, and you have to not take yourself too serious, because you will make a lot of mistakes.
So not taking yourself too seriously, internal motivation, and just doing it without questioning yourself way too many times.
Yeah. It's very good that you summarize it like this, because like this I know what I forgot. Another very fundamental thing I can give us the biggest advice. I always say I have no clue. I don't know how to do anything, but I'm very good in asking. So
that's a good one. That's a really good one.
I'm telling you, there's a science of asking and asking for help. So first off, people might help you. Second off, when you talk to someone, you develop the ideas even better in yourself. Like the famous brainstorming is I think fundamental. Like it's really true. Like just the more people you talk to, the more you develop your ideas, and the more opportunities will like urge from there for sure.
What would you recommend to women and girls who want to be free, who want to travel the world, who want to explore themselves, but are either don't have the ability, the opportunity, or are just afraid?
That's an amazing question, and actually it's funny that you asked me that because I only recently started realizing that it's not normal the way I lived so far. Like because for me, you know, I think I was naturally growing into this certain lifestyle from my childhood, you know, from my parents. There's a lot of influence obviously in it, but I also realized, and then of course I pushed myself always more, and but I realized that it's not normal, and it's very, very difficult for women to take that step and to understand how free you can be, and how you can actually just reach for the stars, and you can live your life however you decide to live it. I'm getting so many messages, how do you live your life like this? Like how do you do it? And I realized it comes really from within. You know, you have to change your perception. You just have to decide not to be scared. That's in a short sentence. Obviously there's so much more to talk about it. There's much longer.
About small steps, like you start by little, because of course traveling the world is fantastic, but you can't just leave everything and go.
Absolutely. I think as a very first step, what I believe helped me a lot is first off going to a foreign country where you don't know the language, and then
where you don't know anybody.
Exactly, you don't know anybody and you don't know the language,
and you go alone.
Yeah, that's your very first rule. Because when you grow up in a certain place and you always stay in the same place, you don't learn the real profound way of networking. You don't understand how to connect with strangers. Basically, you have to be all alone, and then you realize, if I don't talk, if I don't, open up, if I don't approach people, I will stay alone. So you have to learn how to step out of your comfort zone. And that's why I think one of the best lessons, first lessons, if you're afraid to live alone abroad, maybe start traveling, like take a backpack and go alone, stay in hostels, and you have to meet strangers. This is the fundamental rule, meet strangers. So I did it very hardcore. I lived literally in 7 countries, and I did it 7 times. I didn't know anybody, and then I told myself I want to know the language. So within 3 months I learned the language. I mean, obviously, like with practice it goes faster and faster. Maybe the first country I did 6 months to learn the language, and then the more countries you go to, the faster you become.
And it's not necessary, I just want to say, it's not necessary to go immediately to the end of the world, like completely different.
No, you
just start somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna build up on it.
Yeah. So when you ask me as a baby step, obviously I think it's a much more complex topic, but as a very profound, fundamental baby step, go abroad, learn a foreign language. It's a confidence practice. I always say, chicken or egg, what comes first? Like some people say, oh, you're very confident, so you can easily learn a language, and I say, you're not very confident, but because you're learning a language, you become more confident. So you see, it goes one in one. Like the more you challenge yourself, you do something that scares you. It's obviously freaking scary. Talk to a stranger, and when you start learning a language, you talk like a 5-year-old. So obviously, if you have all your ego and you say, oh, but I have a master's degree in a certain school, and if you have that attitude, it's not gonna happen. If you go there and say, okay, this is not my mother tongue, but I'm pushing myself to start talking to a stranger in their mother tongue, which I'm learning, and step by step, eventually you're gonna be at a level where you can express yourself perfectly, but you gotta start somewhere. So if you overcome that, I think then that's one of the best starts in order to change your life to a more courageous and a brighter kind of way, yeah.
Also, what I've noticed is that it's scary in the beginning, but then the more you start talking to people, the more you understand that there's just everybody's just trying to do their best
Yeah.
wherever they are.
Yeah.
And they are friendly, and yeah, some of them may not be like super open right away, but once you start talking and they see that you're trying,
Exactly.
there are tons and tons of very nice people out there everywhere in any part of the world.
Absolutely. I'm also having that attitude. I mean, some of my friends call me Pollyanna, you know, that means like you're hyper positive, but but I don't know. I mean, honestly, I've lived in Brazil even. I went to favela. Nothing ever happened to me, you know, because I really believe if you have this certain positive energy and you feel energy, I feel bad people. It's not that I'm like, oh, everybody is nice. No, like I just, after a while, the more people you meet, the more you read people. It's really true. Like you can tell the way a person is really, like after a while. So I feel that energy. It's like, okay, this is not the right energy.
Yeah.
So I distance myself from this kind of energy. It's very important. So
again, it's the same thing that for you to be so open-minded and traveling as a single girl into complete like countries, like you're from Germany, but you go to Brazil and you just start talking to random people over there. Yeah, it's a skill that people have to practice, and especially women these days, we got much more freedom than before.
Yeah, just go. Just nothing gonna happen.
Just let go.
Yeah, let go. Like, don't take yourself too serious. Just be nice. Like, you know, I give you a very simple example. If you're abroad, then just meet someone and then say where are you from, and then try to talk about the country and just smile. That was my grandfather, by the way. He said, Sabrina, there's one fundamental lesson I can tell you. Whatever you do, whatever you ask with a smile. And really, like, life changer. It sounds so stupid and so simple, but if you're abroad and you don't
tried that in Russia, you know, they look at you like you're crazy or something.
Yeah, but eventually I'm gonna talk to you. Eventually, you know.
Yeah, well, I
still have to do this experience. I still want to live in St. Petersburg, so then Russian, and then I can tell you how I felt being there.
It's very international. I'll take you deeper, somewhere deep in some Ukrainian village or somewhere in Siberia.
No, come on. I think human beings though around the world are quite like universal. If you're friendly, people will be friendly for sure. If you're nice, if you ask friendly, I can give you a million examples of where I have those situations, and I probably would have needed to wait much longer if I wouldn't have like asked friendly, or you have to like communicate and just do it in a friendly way, and I think it kind of gets you very, very far. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. So I would summarize it all that this is all doable, whether you're a girl, whether you're just a beginner and you don't know where to start. Just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Look at other people who do it, ask, and just follow your heart and your internal drive to whatever it is that you want to do.
And don't compare yourself. Only because someone else is at a certain level, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's all for you. Whatever you do is for you.
And any progress matters.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter where you are. It matters from where you come from and how you progress and develop. Very important.
Thank you so much.